If you're hitting a wall trying to scale your coaching business, outsourcing your work left and right, getting VAs who you expect the world from, who are not competent enough, and you don't actually have the time to enjoy the freedom that your business brings you because you're wearing too many hats within your business, in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through a 3-component delegation framework that's going to allow you to remove yourself from your business and help you buy back your time. Now, these are the same 3 components that we've used to help our clients generate over $7.3 million in sales by outsourcing one or all 3 of these components. One of those clients is Alex, who generated $1 million USD. Now, out of the $7.3 million that we've helped clients generate, we've also had cases where someone was starting at $10K per month, so this works at any level. Now, these 3 components are fulfillment, sales, and marketing, and I'm going to show you how to actually delegate them by getting team members who actually care about your growth and allow you to retain high profit margins. So the first thing you need to delegate is fulfillment, but you shouldn't be spending more than 5 to 10 hours per week on your fulfillment if you're trying to scale to those 6 to 7 figure months. And specifically what works in this case is doing group calls where you're a person showing up and teaching to the masses, and there's people inside of your company who are doing the one-on-one support for you. And with every single coaching business, no matter how much you love fulfillment, there's going to be a point where you start getting pulled in so many directions if you're trying to scale your business where you don't dedicate as much time and energy to your clients, meaning you're not able to serve them at the highest level possible. However, when you get someone to help you with fulfillment, you're going to have someone who has dedicated focus on serving your clients, who improves your product and does this continuously because this is their main job, and they're not competing with other priorities in the business because their job is to help your customers and your clients succeed. Now, how do you actually get someone to help you with fulfillment? There's a few options. The first option, in my opinion, this is the best option, is to hire from your students. People who have went through your program will have goodwill towards you. They have seen success with your specific system, and they are the most qualified because of this to teach your system. An example of this is an insurance software I worked on. Specifically, they were teaching insurance agents how to scale their business, how to scale their book of business. And at a certain point, the head or the main person, the face of the brand behind that offer, became the bottleneck because he was getting pulled in so many directions. He couldn't coach students at the highest level, and his time was essentially just caged up. So what did he do? He got one of his most successful students to become a coach, and later that student became a minority partner in the offer. But that student was the most qualified person to teach the system at the highest level, and it's kind of like the student becoming the master. Now, let's say that maybe you don't have as many successful students, or with your specific coaching product, you can't hire a coach from your list of students or your list of current clients. The second option is to hire from your audience. Post an application onto your story, and if you're, for example, selling trading, what you can say is, I'm looking for traders making 10K plus per month to coach my students. And you're going to get DMs immediately from qualified people who haven't gone through your program, but they are experienced in the field you teach, and that's why they watch you, because they're in the same field, who will be able to help your students find success. Now, the third option, and I don't recommend this because this is probably the option with most friction if you're trying to find someone to coach for your program, but it's going to Instagram and searching for other coaches in your space who can't scale their own coaching offer. And you can find tons of these people by just looking up your niche, for example, fitness, and then coach, or trading, coach, or mentor. And then you're able to DM a few of these people and offer them a role. Now, how do you pay these people, right? Because it's nice to hire them, but how do you pay them in a way where you can retain high margins? You do that by giving them a base salary or paying them on a per client basis. This is what I personally prefer. And you can pay them anywhere from $50 to $200 per client, depending on how much fulfillment they have to do, because at that point, it's a question of their bandwidth. Typically, if you want someone who's dialed in, who's going to be a good coach, you're going to be paying them anywhere from 3 up to 10K per month. And that might sound crazy, but it's not. If you're making 200K per month and you're not doing any of the coaching and you have all of your time back, that's a no-brainer. Now, once you outsource fulfillment, you're not done yet, because you're still going to have to deal with getting salespeople and outsourcing sales, as well as marketing. Now, we're going to go and talk about sales first, because typically that's what you're going to outsource before marketing, because you are your face of the brand, right? You market yourself. But we're going to get to that in a second. That's the third strategy. With sales specifically, you're going to be hiring at specific revenue targets. This is where I like to hire for our clients. If someone hits 20K per month, this is where we hire a setter who's going to handle their DMs. It gets them out of their DMs and it frees that time up. At 50K per month, that's when we hire a closer. Typically, this is where you're making enough with your offer where you can afford to pay a closer 10%. And what this does is it gets you off all of these sales calls, so that's not something you have to worry about. And typically, if you can get a closer, a lot of times you can get a better closer than yourself who's going to close at a higher percentage than you, hence make you more money. Now, at 100 to 200K per month, this is where I would suggest hiring a sales manager who can oversee the team, because this is where you're going to have multiple setters, you're going to have 2, 3 closers, and you don't want to be managing them unless you absolutely love sales or you have a ton of time to do it. You want someone who looks over them like a hawk every single day and make sure they perform. Now that you know what sales staff you need to actually implement into your offer, where do you actually get them and how do you pay them so you can retain your margins? The cool part is with setters, closers, and sales managers, they're all commission based. So they're not getting paid unless they make you money. They eat what they kill. And with that being said, with setters, you're going to be paying 3 to 5%, depending on your offer size. With closers, it's typically going to be around 10%. And with the sales manager, it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 10%. But if you're not at a point where you're making 100 to 200K right now, you shouldn't be even worrying about the sales manager. Now, the best place to hire any of these people, and this is where we hire for all of our clients, it's going to be from sales coaches on Instagram and YouTube. The reason you're going to hire from sales coaches is because they charge students for coaching, and they typically have more students that are trying to get into sales or are already experienced in sales and are trying to progress in the game than they have roles. And they have big networks of salespeople as well if they don't have someone who's a good fit that's in their coaching program. Now, the cool part is if someone is in a sales program, typically that sales trainer, especially if you don't have a sales manager yet, is going to be the one who's doing all the training and some of the managing as well, because they're incentivized by their students who pay them money for coaching to coach them. And of course, they want to fulfill on that promise to them unless they're complete scammers. And these sales coaches, they don't charge you anything, right? This is not something you have to pay for. And as I said, these sales coaches will place people for free because they're already paid by their students. Now, a red flag that you need to look out for when you're hiring from sales coaches, and this is a trap that I fell into when we were hiring for Alex's offer, the offer that hit $1 million per month, that is looking out for lifestyle coaches, okay? Lifestyle sales coaches. These are not the sales coaches you want to hire from because typically they're not knowledgeable. So I'm talking about the people who will post Lamborghinis online, they will post their Miami lifestyle themselves on jet skis in the afternoon, but they don't actually post any student wins, they don't post sales calls, they don't post any sort of training content. Those people are typically not experienced, and that's why they're not posting that content. And because of that, they're also attracting students who are falling for a get-rich-quick scheme instead of attracting people with a strong work ethic who are actually going to deliver results for your business. Now, once you have your fulfillment and your sales dialed in, there's still one more piece that's left to take you out of the business and get you focusing specifically on the strategy and pushing the business forward, and that's outsourcing the marketing side of things. Now, here's the thing. With marketing, you're always going to be the face of the brand. There's no way to avoid that unless you're doing typically multiple 6 figures per month or millions per month, and you can bring brand ambassadors in. However, you can still remove yourself from all the day-to-day work in order to make your content and ads more scalable. And the way you're going to scale is exactly how Hormozi suggests it. You will either increase your output for your ads and your content through more volume or better quality. Those are the two ways. That's how you're going to scale your marketing. Now, who do you actually hire to help you do this? The first hire you're going to make, if you're specifically focused on organic and you're not running ads yet and you don't plan to, is going to be a creative strategist or a content writer. And this person is going to manage video production. They're going to be coming up with ideas, scripting videos, and editing your videos for you. So that's not something that you have to do. And if you're thinking, well, I already do all of this myself, it doesn't take me more than an hour or two anyways, right? Well, you could keep doing it yourself, but one way to scale is to improve the quality. So if you have someone who does this for you, who's experienced, and this is their sole priority in the company, they're typically going to be able to do it better than you. And that's going to make you more money. The next thing is if you're running ads or if you plan on launching ads, you're going to need 3 people. These are 3 key hires you're going to need in order to scale with cold traffic without being the bottleneck in your business. The first person is going to be a media buyer. So this is going to be someone who manages ad spend and your platform strategy, whether you're advertising on Meta or Google. You're going to need a copywriter, someone who writes the ad copy, the sales page copy, and optimizes your funnels to make sure they convert. And you're able to convert as many page views, people who land on your funnel or even land on your Instagram page, on your profile, into actual sales and clients. The next person you're going to hire is going to be a funnel designer. This is someone that I would suggest hiring once you're past 100, 200K per month, because typically there's going to be copywriters who can do this job, but at some point you can hire a funnel designer who's going to make sure your pages look clean, they work, and they're going to implement every change that the copywriter gives them so that the copywriter doesn't become a constraint because he's wearing too many hats at once, just like you might be right now in your business. What this is going to allow for is faster testing, and if you can test faster, you're going to be able to make more money faster because you're going to find what works faster and what makes you more money. Now, once you delegate these 3 components in your business in the following order, getting past 50K per month, getting past 100K per month, getting to 200K per month and beyond is going to become easy. Now, if you're looking to scale your coaching business past 50 to 100K per month in the next 60 days or less, and you want to do it without becoming a bottleneck in your business, without being chained to your business, without wearing the so-called golden handcuffs where you're wearing all the hats, Scroll down to the first link in the description and book a free business audit call with me on the next page. On that call, you're going to receive a personalized game plan for yourself to scale your business with actionable steps that you can implement. And we're going to talk about delegation and how you can actually scale and the positions you need to hire specifically surrounding your business and the niche that you're coaching on. And then if we do align together with my team, we're going to be able to implement that entire game plan for you on a done for you basis. We'll take over every single component of the business that I mentioned above. We're going to give you your time back and make scaling past 50 to 100K per month a breeze. Now, if you just have any questions, DM me on IG, which is also going to be linked below.